Your teenager just opened TikTok to check one thing and 4 hours vanished. They're not scrolling mindlessly, they're scrolling urgently, like something's missing if they stop. And the scary part? This doesn't feel wrong to them anymore. It feels normal. It feels like breathing. Most parents think they'll see the warning signs coming, but internet addiction in teens doesn't announce itself. It hides inside what looks like regular teenage life, and by the time you notice something shifted, the hooks have already sunk deeper than you realized. The truth is, the advice most parents follow actually makes it worse. But here's what changes everything. When you understand exactly how these patterns take root and what your teenager's brain is actually craving, you stop fighting the symptom and start solving the real problem. And that's when things actually get calmer, not scarier. Let me start with something that might hit different. A few years ago, I watched a really bright 14-year-old girl describe her phone like it was oxygen. Not like it was helpful or entertaining. Like it was literally survival. And when her parents took it away as punishment, she didn't rage or sneak around as much as they expected. She became almost hollow, silent, withdrawn. Her mom told me later that it felt like grief, not just frustration. That moment stuck with me because it showed something most parents miss completely. Internet addiction isn't a character flaw. It's not laziness or disrespect. It's a genuine behavioral pattern where the brain has learned to seek out a specific reward the same way it seeks out food or connection. The platforms are engineered to do this. The algorithms are literally designed by thousands of engineers whose job is to make your teenager's brain light up and ask for more. Understanding this changes how you respond because you're not punishing an addict anymore. You're helping them rewire. Here's what that actually looks like inside your teen's brain. When your kid gets a notification, a like, a comment, or even just the possibility of new content, their brain releases dopamine. That's the chemical that creates anticipation and motivation. Now, dopamine isn't bad. It's how we stay motivated to do homework, pursue hobbies, connect with friends. The problem is that the internet is engineered to release dopamine in unpredictable patterns. Sometimes they post something and get 10 likes. Sometimes 50. Sometimes crickets. That randomness, that variable reward schedule, is the exact same pattern that keeps people pulling the lever on a slot machine. The brain gets trained to pull again and again because the next pull might be the big one. Your teenager isn't weak. They're developing prefrontal cortex. The part that handles impulse control and long-term thinking is literally still being built. So when they're facing an opponent with thousands of engineers and millions of dollars working to keep them hooked, the odds are stacked. Saying, just use less is like telling someone standing on a tilted floor to balance better. It's not wrong advice, it's just impossible advice under the current conditions. So how do you actually recognize when this has crossed from normal teenage internet use into addiction territory? The first thing to watch for is time loss. And I'm not talking about 20 minutes here or there. I mean your teen losing entire chunks of their evening, their homework time, their sleep to browsing without actively choosing to. They started picking up their phone thinking they'd check one message, and suddenly it's midnight. They're not engaged in what they're doing. They're not even enjoying it necessarily, but they can't stop. It's compulsive. The second sign is what I call the phantom reach. You'll notice them reaching for their phone even when it's not there. Their hand moves toward their pocket out of habit, muscle memory, automatic behavior. That's a neurological pattern establishing itself. The third sign is harder to see, but probably the most important. Everything else starts feeling less interesting. School feels duller. Hanging out with friends in person feels awkward. Real hobbies feel slower, less rewarding. Because nothing matches the dopamine hit they're getting from their device. Their brain has been recalibrated, and everything else has been turned down in comparison. Pay attention also to emotional regulation changes. A teen who's developing internet addiction often becomes irritable or anxious when they can't access their phone. Not just a little annoyed, we're talking genuine distress. They might feel anxious at school when they can't check their phone. They might get snappy or emotional if they're asked to put it down. And here's the thing most parents don't understand. That's not attitude. That's withdrawal. It's their brain signaling that it's missing the chemical release it's been getting regularly. Another pattern I've seen again and again is what I call the bounce back. Your teen promises to use their phone less. They might even try genuinely. But within a few days or a week, they're right back to the same patterns. This happens because willpower alone cannot overcome behavioral conditioning and neurochemistry. It's like asking someone to willpower their way out of caffeine addiction. There's a physical element, not just a character element. So what happens if you miss these signs and the pattern becomes really entrenched? Your teen's sleep suffers. Not just because they're up late, but because the blue light and the stimulation are affecting their circadian rhythm, their melatonin production, their ability to fall asleep at all. Their grades might drop, not because they're not capable, but because their attention has been rewired toward quick hits of novelty instead of the sustained focus homework requires. You might notice physical changes too. They're hunched over more. Their eyes are strained. They complain about headaches or neck pain. Socially, they might become isolated, not dramatically, but subtly. They're less interested in making real plans. When they are with friends, they're still partially absent, checking their phone. The friendship feels thinner. And then there's the psychological piece. Anxiety can spike. So can depression. Not necessarily because the internet itself caused it, but because the constant comparison on social media, the reduced face-to-face connection, the sleep deprivation, and the guilt about how much time they're spending all compound each other. Now here's where most parents go wrong. They see these patterns and they go into control mode. They take the phone away completely. They impose strict time limits. They monitor everything. And sometimes, briefly, things get better. The screen time goes down, the grades improve, they seem less anxious. But then something else happens that catches parents off guard. Because the urge is still there. The craving is still there. The brain is still looking for that reward. So their teen starts finding other ways to get online. They use a friend's phone. They wake up at 3 in the morning to use a laptop. They become sneaky in new ways. Or they redirect that compulsive energy elsewhere. Suddenly they're obsessing over something else, developing other compulsive patterns. The addiction didn't go away. It just adapted. You can't solve this with restriction alone because restriction doesn't address the underlying need. So, what actually works? The answer is almost the opposite of what feels instinctive. Instead of fighting the addiction directly, you have to make offline life more rewarding. This isn't about being permissive or letting them keep their old habits. It's about understanding that their brain is seeking something, and if you only remove the source without giving them something equally compelling to seek, they'll just keep looking for ways back to it. Think about it this way. If every real conversation with your teen feels rushed or critical, but TikTok feels fun and judgment-free, which one do their brain's reward centers learn to prefer? If they're bored and unstimulated in their actual life, but their phone offers endless novelty, which one wins? The key is rebuilding a life where real, offline things become genuinely interesting again. Not because they're forced to, but because they actually are. This means creating space for activities where they can experience autonomy, confidence, and connection, the 3 things that build intrinsic motivation. And those activities have to feel cool or meaningful to your teen, not like something you're forcing them to do to fix their problem. If you're dealing with this right now and you're feeling stuck between what you want to do and what actually works, there's a free chapter in the guide linked in the description that walks you through the exact conversation framework to have with your teen about their relationship with their phone, without the shame, without the control, and without sounding like you don't understand their world. It's built around questions, not lectures, and it's designed to help your teen see their own patterns before you have to become the enforcer. Because honestly, that's where most parents get stuck. They know something's off, but they don't know how to talk about it without it turning into a battle. That chapter changes that dynamic. Check it out if this is something your family is facing right now. Let me give you a concrete example of what this actually looks like in practice. I knew a family where the 16-year-old was spending 5, sometimes 6 hours a day on her phone. Grades were slipping. She was anxious. Her parents were terrified. They tried the restriction route first. Took the phone for a week. She became so distressed that they gave it back. Both sides felt defeated. Then they shifted approach. Instead of taking the phone away, they asked her what she actually wanted to be doing. And she said, genuinely, that she didn't know anymore. Everything felt boring. So her parents didn't lecture. They just started inviting her into real things again. not as punishment or as a replacement, just as genuine invitations. Her dad asked if she'd help him with a project he was actually working on. Her mom asked her to help plan a trip somewhere she thought her daughter might actually want to go. Her parents made space for longer conversations without the phone there, but they didn't forbid it. And slowly, really slowly, the phone mattered less because other things started mattering more. 3 months in, the phone use dropped significantly, but it wasn't because she was willpowering herself. It was because her brain had found other things worth seeking out. Her grades came back up. The anxiety didn't disappear, but it became manageable. And the relationship between her and her parents actually got stronger instead of becoming more combative. That's the real shift. When you move from fighting the addiction to rebuilding a life where other things are genuinely rewarding, everything changes. But this takes patience. It takes showing up repeatedly with invitations, not demands. It takes being willing to make real experiences compelling again, which honestly is a whole thing in itself for parents who are also glued to screens. Your teen is watching how you relate to your own phone. If you're constantly checking yours, setting boundaries around theirs starts to feel like hypocrisy to them. I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but you do have to be honest. I struggle with this too. Let's figure it out together is so much more powerful than you need to get off your phone. The practical stuff matters too, by the way. Sleep is non-negotiable. A teenager's brain actually needs more sleep than an adult's, and they're wired to want to sleep later anyway. But if they've got their phone in their room, the notifications are keeping them partially wired even when they're trying to sleep. So the phone doesn't live in the bedroom at night. Not as punishment, just as a boundary that serves everyone. Charging happens outside their room. They can still call you in an emergency, but the constant stream of notifications stops. You'll probably see a change in their mood and their attention just from better sleep. Second, create phone-free times for specific activities. Not like no phones ever, but like no phones during dinner, or during the first hour after school, or during family time. These times serve a dual purpose. They give your teen neurological space to recover from constant stimulation, and they protect time for real connection. Third, be really thoughtful about which apps are installed. TikTok and Instagram have the most sophisticated engagement algorithms. YouTube has infinite autoplay. Some games are designed explicitly to keep you playing. Your teen doesn't need every app. They might genuinely only need the platforms they use for real connection, not the ones designed purely for endless consumption. And here's something I wish more parents understood. Boredom is actually therapeutic for teenagers. Boredom is when the brain does its deepest work. It's when creativity happens, when they process emotions, when their nervous system actually calms down. If you fill every boring moment with stimulation, they never learn how to self-regulate. They never experience what contentment actually feels like without external input. Some of the most important growth happens in boredom. So protecting some bored time isn't deprivation. It's actually a gift. This is probably the most important part though. Watch for the underlying reasons why the addiction took root in the first place. Sometimes it's just biology and smart design working together. But sometimes there's more. Is your teen struggling with anxiety and using their phone to escape it? Are they lonely and seeking connection online because they don't have strong friendships in person? Are they dealing with depression or ADHD, which makes them especially vulnerable to compulsive behaviors? Are they facing stress at school or pressure at home? The addiction is often a symptom, not the root problem. If you treat only the addiction without addressing what it was masking, you might stop one compulsive pattern only to watch another one emerge. Sometimes talking to a therapist isn't about fixing the teen. It's about understanding what their brain was trying to get from the phone that they're not getting from their actual life. One more thing that's really important. Don't shame them about this. Your teen didn't wake up at 10 and think, I'm going to become addicted to my phone today. They were just a regular kid using tools that were specifically designed by some of the smartest engineers in the world to be as engaging as possible. That's not a character flaw. That's just what happens when a developing brain meets an app designed to capture it. So when you talk to them about this, lead with understanding, not judgment. I'm noticing your phone time has really picked up and you seem stressed when you're away from it. I'm worried because I care about you and I want to help you feel better, not worse. That lands differently than you're addicted and you're ruining your life. The first one invites collaboration. The second one triggers defensiveness. The path forward here isn't about shame or control or trying to undo technology. It's about helping your teen develop a conscious, chosen relationship with their devices instead of a compulsive one. It's about rebuilding their real life to be interesting enough to compete with the engineered dopamine hits. It's about understanding that this is one of the defining challenges of modern adolescence, and it requires actual parental wisdom, not just restrictions. When you get this right, when you help your teen find their way back to real engagement and real relationships, the payoff is huge. Not just in terms of screen time numbers, but in terms of who your teen becomes. More present, more capable of focus, more resilient, more connected to you. And honestly, that's worth the effort it takes to shift your whole approach. So if this is resonating and you want to stay in the conversation about raising kids in this digital world, subscribing means you'll get these deeper explorations about tech, connection, and how to actually parent teens without losing your mind. Because this stuff keeps changing and you want to stay ahead of it. What I'm really curious about, though, is your experience. Have you noticed these patterns in your own teen? What's the one sign that made you realize something had shifted? Drop your story in the comments. Because a lot of parents are feeling alone in this, and hearing that they're not the only ones trying to figure it out makes all the difference. Thanks for staying with this whole conversation.